Hello sports fans, welcome to Oklahoma Sports Report. I'm Heath, with me Mark Rodgers, and we are at Royal Pipes and Tobacco and Cohiba Lounge right here on Jenkins and Boyd in Norman. A great place to find your dad's Christmas gift. They have lots of good Christmas gifts for dad. They have Savoy humidors, they have cigar fresh packs, and premier lighters, cutters, and cases, all for your dad, uncles, whatever, here at Royal Pipes. Mark, we just witnessed the final game of the Big 12 era for OU football with a victory against TCU in record-setting fashion.
Yeah, there's a lot of points scored in that game. 69 points for Oklahoma. It was a good day on offense, not so good a day on defense.
Yeah, that's one of those things that we will talk more later on. But, you know, for the most part, for a Friday, Black Friday game, good crowd, good atmosphere, kind of a send-off to the Big 12 and TCU.
Yeah, I like the Friday game. I don't know if it's something that we'll see much more of.
I like a Friday 6 o'clock
going
game.
forward, Friday at 6. Yeah, Thanksgiving weekend, and had a good day. I mean, it was a little chilly to begin, but again, you play the game Sunday at midnight, and you're going to have a full house at OU.
Well, and it surprised me because it's the first Friday game, and 11 o'clock. But, hey, the OU faithful were here in numbers and completely full. I was surprised the student section was mostly full.
Right.
With them being gone for Thanksgiving and stuff. So, hats off to the students.
Yeah, and again, I think that, it's been a good season. Winning 4 more games than they won a year ago. I know that Oklahoma fans were disappointed not to be in the Big 12 championship game, but at least the team is the trajectory is heading the right way.
Well, and you're right. I mean, it's 10-2 as opposed to a losing season last year. Some improvement on both sides of the ball, greatly improved on offense, not so much on defense, but we'll talk more about that on the Oklahoma Sports Report from Royal Pipes and Cohiba Lounge.
Let us help you get on your journey to feeling better and living a more healthy life. Dr. Gumman at Harmony Healing Center is dedicated to providing personalized care to each of his patients. Internationally trained and nationally recognized, with over 24 years of practice, Dr. Gumman is the highest recommended acupuncturist in Oklahoma. Call and schedule your appointment today.
Hi friends, did you know that over 80 million men and women suffer from hair loss? Well, now there's help. Dr. Victoria Johnson and her staff at Laser Light Skin Clinic are introducing a revolutionary laser hair loss treatment called Alma-TED. Alma-TED uses a proprietary laser that will help stop hair loss and promote growth. For more information, give Dr. Victoria Johnson and her staff at Laser Light a call and stop hair loss today.
You are the most beautiful creation under the sun. Daily Informations. You are going to make Table 14 so happy. And you are being taken away.
All right. At Neighborhood Jam, you deserve breakfast as beautiful as you. So start the day right with scratch-made favorites, morning or midday, every day. Treat yourself to Neighborhood Jam.
You're gonna taste just as good tomorrow.
Oh man, dude, I really wish I could make that. It's National No Pants Day, and that'd be kind of inappropriate.
We actually just had gas station sushi, and you just don't want to chance that.
We're gonna be running tornado drills all day.
I have tickets to see Kenny Rodgers. He's what?
Tornado drill, tornado drill.
Your friends are tired of coming up with excuses. Two Fellas Moving Company, saving friendships since 1996.
Wanderfolk Spirits distilled out of Guthrie, Oklahoma. Great line of spirits. They have Wanderfolk Gin, Wanderfolk Vodka, and Old Moses Bourbon. All of these are quality products, and they're distilled right here in Oklahoma. So support Oklahoma business. Ask your favorite restaurant or bar to carry Wanderfolk Spirits. And welcome back. Mark Rodgers, Heath from Royal Pipes and Tobacco and Cohiba Lounge here in Norman. Mark, a lot of question marks. You mentioned, 69-46 game, last one. Good for the offense, not so good for the defense. Jeff Lebby just was hired, as the head coach at Mississippi State. So I've got some questions about that.
Right.
To me, this is a career-defining decision for Brent Venables. Because Jeff Lebby, I think, was responsible for a great deal of success here at the University of Oklahoma the last 2 years. And that's going to be hard to replicate and to replace.
Well, I think so. They've got a lot of choices potentially in staff that could fill that role pretty easily. You've got two analysts that have been head football coaches in college and been successful ones in Seth Luttrell and Matt Wells. I know Matt Wells' name is out there surfaced with the Oregon State job. And then you have Joe John Finley, who has really been with Jeff Lebby basically for the last 10 years everywhere he's been. So I think he's comfortable with implementing that offense. I think one of those three guys is going to be the new play caller, offensive coordinator to replace Lebby.
Well, I think you got to go outside and look at who's the best, because I agree that would be a seamless, almost seamless type transition. But to me, you're going into the SEC. You're looking at it long term. I'm at least going out there and I'm going to look at all the top names in the country as offensive coordinators or potential offensive coordinators, and I'm going to ask them the question, do you want to be a head coach? Because if you want to be a head coach, you come to Oklahoma and be the offensive coordinator, because the last 7 have all gone on to be a head coach.
Well, it's I think all but 2 since World War II. Have done that. The only 2 that didn't were Dick Winder and then Joe Dickinson. But I would say that consistency could also be important, where the offense that Jeff Lebby runs is pretty unique. It's a
top 5 offense.
Well, but it's a spread the field type offense.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have to change some things, and you would have to change the way things work. And you've got Jackson Arnold that's had to practice, and all the rest of the returning players that have practiced in the same offense. And so you could have some continuity, I think, if you did go with somebody on staff, as far as not having to learn and implement a new offense.
And I agree with part of that, but I'm still gonna make questions, because there may be a guy out there that long term might be able to handle the offensive coordinator, because to me the one less understood or least understood part of an offensive coordinator is play calling.
Right.
Okay? Nobody on that staff has been a play caller at this level. Okay, there's a lot of great offensive minds out there that when it gets to be time for, okay, the clock is ticking, you got 10 seconds, what are we calling, can't handle it. So to me, the most least understood or most probably important aspect of an offensive coordinator, or at least from my point of view, is play call.
I would say Seth Luttrell has called plays before, coaching for Kevin Wilson, and then on his own when he was a head coach at North Texas, is a good offensive mind. So he would have some experience in that realm, and maybe would want to do a little bit different than what Jeff Lebby had done. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of good coaches around college football that could deserve a chance, and it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that's at a great program to come to Oklahoma. So I do feel pretty confidently that they're going to hire within, though.
And like I said, I don't have a problem with that. But at the same time, if they did take a long-term look, and Brent Venables goes, look, I'm going to be here for as long as I want to be. I need to have an offensive coordinator that's going to take me by year 3 in the SEC. I'm dominating, or at least I'm in the hunt. Now, I'm not saying that's not his staff. I'm just saying that you got to at least look. Because, I mean, people like Kevin Wilson was one of the greatest play callers that I've seen at OU. I mean, he always called something, and when he did, he had a counter to that. He always, maybe 10 plays later he would come back in and show the same formation, but run something different off of that. And I always thought that was a key to his offense. He was always thinking ahead, 10 plays ahead. That's not always easy to do and manage that game.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Kevin Wilson, one of the very best offensive coordinators that OU's had. I would put him in the same kind of category as Lincoln Riley. So, a ton of success and a ton of points scored. I think Jeff Lebby's is pretty close to that, what he's done this season. I think
Jeff Lebby was, he was responsible for a lot of those victories this year, because, let's be real, Brent Venables' defense went backwards towards the end of the year.
Right.
So Jeff Lebby's offense carried that team, and it's going to be hard to replace that regardless of who he names.
Right.
It's going to be hard because, you know, Lebby was a top 5 offensive coordinator, and he had a good feel for the game. Now, not all the fans agreed with this play calling, but they didn't agree with Josh Heupel's play calling, and he got run out.
Right.
So, you know.
Yeah, no, I think Lebby did a fantastic job. And again, like you said, the defense did go backwards a little bit. The offense scored more than 30 points in 11 of 12 games. That's a pretty good season.
Well, yeah, the 2 losses, they scored more than 30 points, and they should, you know, generally, if you score more than 30 points, you're hoping. Now, that brings back Alex Grinch type vibes.
Right.
You know, because how many games did he lose when the offense scored 50?
Right.
You know, and so those are the kind of things that Brent Venables has to take in consideration, because this is a career-defining decision for Brent Venables.
Well, we'll see. I think that I think Oklahoma's recruited very well on the offensive side of the ball. They've got a quarterback that's in place that should be ready to have a lot of success. So I like their chances of making a good move.
And we'll talk more about the offensive side and the defensive side when we get back with more on the Oklahoma Sports Report.
Let us help you get on your journey to feeling better and living a more healthy life. Dr. Gumman at Harmony Healing Center is dedicated to providing personalized care to each of his patients. Internationally trained and nationally recognized, with over 24 years of practice, Dr. Gumman is the highest recommended acupuncturist in Oklahoma. Call and schedule your appointment today.
Hi friends, did you know that over 80 million men and women suffer from hair loss? Well, now there's help. Dr. Victoria Johnson and her staff at Laser Light Skin Clinic are introducing a revolutionary laser hair loss treatment called Alma-Ted. Alma-Ted uses a proprietary laser that will help stop hair loss and promote growth. For more information, give Dr. Victoria Johnson and her staff at Laser Light a call and stop hair loss today.
You are the most beautiful creation under the sun. Daily Informations. You are going to make Table 14 so happy. And you are being
Taken away. All right. At Neighborhood Jam, you deserve breakfast as beautiful as you. So start the day right with scratch-made favorites, morning or midday, every day. Treat yourself to Neighborhood Jam.
You're gonna taste just as good tomorrow.
Oh man, dude, I really wish I could make that. It's National No Pants Day, and that'd be kind of inappropriate.
We actually just had gas station sushi, and you just don't want to chance that.
We're gonna be running tornado drills, like tornado drills all day.
I have tickets to see Kenny Rodgers. He's what?
Tornado drill, tornado drill.
Your friends are tired of coming up with excuses. Two Fellas Moving Company, saving friendships since 1996.
Wander Folk Spirits distilled out of Guthrie, Oklahoma. Great line of spirits. They have Wander Folk Gin, Wander Folk Vodka, and Old Moses Bourbon. All of these are quality products, and they're distilled right here in Oklahoma. So support Oklahoma business. Ask your favorite restaurant or bar to carry Wander Folk Spirits. And welcome back. Mark Rodgers, Rick Heath from Royal Pipes and Tobacco, where you can get Dad a wonderful diesel whiskey rose cigar like this. It's bourbon barrel aged, and it is a very, very tasty cigar. And you can get him a cigar like that, or you can get humidors, Savoy humidors, or cigar fresh packs and premier lighters, cutters, and cases here for Dad, Uncle, Brother, whatever at Royal Pipes. Okay, so 2 schools of thought. Go outside, shake everybody's cage, see what happens. Go inside, okay? You've mentioned the gentlemen that are in consideration if he goes inside. But I heard Kale talk about, now somebody's feelings are going to get hurt.
Right.
If one of them is named inside. So that, you know, is that a consideration? I mean, you can't let that be a consideration if you're Brent Venables, right?
No, you got to hire the best guy. And again, like I said, part of the staff, you got to worry about who's going to go with Jeff Lebby to a certain place. You've got to, again, Seth Luttrell and Matt Wells both could be head coaching candidates at other schools after being here for Oklahoma and working under Jeff with 2 successful seasons, Matt with 2 and Seth with 1. So I don't think that whose feelings are going to get hurt is much of a consideration there at all. I think it's just part of the process. It's
part of the job, you know. I mean, you're not always going to be the best like guy around, you know.
Yeah.
Most often you're not if you're an offensive coordinator. But I've got an idea and a solution if they did want to go in-house.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
A Thunderdome battle to the death.
Yes. We put them all in the cage, and whoever walks out is the offensive coordinator. We'll do it right here on Owen Field.
Seth and Joe John might have a battle royale there. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah, Matt just taps out before he goes in.
Right.
Okay, here's my solution. Joe John Finley, who has been with Jeff Lebby, as you mentioned a while ago, all right, becomes offensive coordinator. Okay. Matt Wells becomes quarterback coach, co-head coach, and Seth Luttrell becomes co-offensive coordinator, run game coordinator.
Right. I mean, that's fair. I mean, that's a title for all those guys. And I think, you know, again, some of them are doing pretty well as an analyst. That is a much easier job than a coach. You don't have to go out recruiting all the time, and you just get to work here and kind of prepare game plans. So, and then you need to lose another offensive coach at that point if you're going to put 3 new people on staff. You've only lost basically 1. Joe John's already an assistant coach.
Well, Joe John, if he doesn't get named offensive coordinator, he'll be offensive coordinator at Mississippi State.
I would think so. I would think there's a pretty high.
If he's not already.
Right. But that doesn't give him the ability to call plays.
Yeah.
I think that Jeff calls plays there. And so, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to be decided and a lot of questions to be answered.
Joe John knows this offense better than anyone because he's been with Lebby longer. So that would be pretty seamless and give him a title of passing game coordinator, offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Matt, we've been talking about one of Brent Venable's weaknesses is managing the sideline, being a head coach. And when his defense is in trouble, he goes back as de facto and goes to the defense and leaves what's happening on the field sometime to somebody else.
Right.
To me, that's Matt Wells.
That could be a good role for Matt. I mean, he has experience doing that. I thought Brent improved this year on managing the overall aspect of the game. I didn't see as much of him locked on to trying to coach the defense as being there and being accountable to the whole team.
So anyway, and Seth Luttrell, I mean, co-offensive coordinator, give him a title, give them all a bump. If somebody's got to go, somebody's got to go.
Right.
But you give him, co-offensive coordinator, run game coordinator. He was a fullback. He knows that well.
Sure.
That gives everybody a little bit of a piece of the pie and keeps them all happy.
I think that's a good suggestion.
There we go.
I like it. I like it.
Run that up to Brent, will you? Take that over. We're just still a couple of blocks away.
That's right.
Run that up to the Switzer Center and say, hey, we got you covered, Brent. But it's going to be tough regardless going in the SEC. I mean, it's a whole different game plan. The fans and the analysts, being sports analysts, not analysts at the team, but we don't even know how tough it's going to be. We can imagine. But, I mean, it's going to be a gauntlet. I mean, they got Tennessee coming here. They got Alabama here. We got to go to Ole Miss. I mean, there are games on the schedule next year that you're looking at and go, man, if OU just goes, break even, I mean, in conference play would be a good first year.
Well, I don't think anybody around here is going to be happy with the break even. I think that Tulane is on the non-conference schedule, which is a really tough game. Tulane actually would be in the 12-team playoff this year if they were able to win the conference championship game against SMU next week. It is very tough, but there are teams that have success in the SEC. Missouri is a 10-win team this year, and you'd like to think Oklahoma's capable of doing similar things to what Missouri has done. So with the breakup of the West Conference in the SEC, you're going to have a little bit more balanced schedules. I think you're going to have teams playing each other that we haven't seen before in the SEC. So I'm not as concerned, I think, as most that, that just means next year is going to be 4 more losses. Oklahoma's going to have to take a step up and replace some players, but I think they'll do well in the SEC.
And we'll talk about, the portal and replacing players in a little bit, but I want to go back. The toughest adjustment right now is, to me, going in the SEC is as big a question mark as who's going to be the offensive coordinator. It's what Brent Venable is going to do with his defense.
Right.
Because he was brought in to remake the defense. And for a while, boy, it looked like maybe it was moving. And then it went definitely back the last 2 games. And it was not a good defense. That, to me, is the biggest question going into the SEC, because without a good, solid, stout defense, you're going to get run-ruled a bunch in the SEC.
There's no doubt about it. That's a big challenge.
So, you know, to me, that's where, I mean, and Brent's always been very good at that, okay? Will year 3 prove out to be a better year going into the SEC? That, to me, is the biggest question.
I think so. I think that there are definitely some offenses in the Big 12 that play faster, but there's going to have to be some adjustments and better players on the way.
And we're going to be talking about some of those better players because it's portal season right here. And we're at Royal Pipes and Tobacco Cohiba Lounge, where you can come in and get a great cigar like this wonderful bourbon barrel diesel whiskey road cigar, or get a present for your dad, brother, uncle, whatever. And we'll be right back with more. And welcome back, Oklahoma Sports Report. Mark Rodgers, Rick Heath, where we are at Royal Pipes and Tobacco and Cohiba Lounge, and you can get gifts for Dad, including Savoy humidors, fresh packs for cigars, and premier lighters, cutters, and cases here at Royal Pipes. As I teased a while ago, it's portal season. I mean, this is the thing that's changed probably, other than NIL, more than anything else in a coach's life, college coach's life, is now not only do they have to recruit their own players, but now they got to sift through and have their entire staff sift through 150 or so different players that want to come to OU or want to come to your school and fill in the gaps. That's a tough assignment.
Yeah, and it has to be done pretty quickly too. And so they'll be looking for players, I think, in the defensive line. They're losing a lot of guys that have played in that position. Offensive line didn't have a whole lot of depth this year, so they'll be looking for some players there. And I think really just anybody that can help, you know, has a good chance of getting a shot to come play.
Well, you know, and so I think the very first.
I think they'll be looking also for potentially a backup quarterback.
That's going to be a big deal because Jackson Arnold's going to be your starter. It's going to be a delicate little balance. Hey, come in and be our backup. I mean, there's not a whole lot of guys. Now, there may be a fifth-year senior that, you know, that may want to come out and be a grad transfer and learn a little bit because he doesn't have a pro-type career or something. But that's going to be a delicate balance to get somebody to come in and be a backup to Jackson Arnold.
I think so, too. You're going to have to sell them on the program. Now, again, everyone knows how Jackson Arnold's going to play, or we think we do, but it has not been proven yet. There's just potential there.
Well, and potential means you haven't proven it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only thing it is. Defensive line's got to be the priority, though. I mean, because that is the difference maker in the SEC that I see, is that those teams that excel there have great defensive lines.
Well,
even good defense.
It's the prototype for Georgia and Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, they've really recruited great defensive linemen that they've put in the pros. You know, there's a number of Alabama and Georgia guys in the defensive line that are playing the NFL. So that's something that OU, if they want to aspire to get to that level, they're going to have to recruit multiple defensive linemen that can make an impact.
And the opposite is just true on the opposite side of the line. The offensive line needs more players. They're going to lose maybe 3 starters off of that, and maybe up to 5 players, backups and all that in the portal and to the pros. I mean, that's got to be a priority. You know?
I think they're going to be replacing basically all 4 of the 5 positions on the offensive line, and so without a whole lot of depth on this year's team, big concern.
Yeah, and that's good. Now, you know, the other places they would look, after watching the defense this year, I mean, they need cornerbacks. They're losing Woody Washington. They've got some young guys coming in. But if you've got somebody like Pearson that came in, you know, as a transfer from Tech that already had the experience, it's always nice to have those guys that have 1 or 2 years already under their belt, you know, experience.
I thought Pearson brought a physical element to the defense, a big hitter that they haven't had there in a long time. I feel pretty good about the corner positions. You've got Gentry Williams ready to take over a spot, and then you have some other guys that played this year due to some injury. So I think the cornerback position will be pretty good. Part of the big decisions for OU, or the big concerns, will be who's going to go pro off that defense. Will Danny Stutzman or Billy Bowman go pro? Guys that might not be early draft picks, but with maybe like an opportunity next level, would be huge returns, better than any portal player that they could get, I think.
Yeah, if they could keep Billy Bowman and Stutzman, that would be great. I don't know that they're going to be able to keep them. I mean, when I get a chance to start, I mean, I started to say, when you got a chance to go cash a check, but that's not true anymore. They can cash them right here.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Speaking of NIL money, I mean, that's another concern for a coach right now. I mean, the portal guys are going, hey, how about me? I mean, you know, they're going to be attracted by opportunity and money.
Well, there's no doubt Oklahoma, I think, has done a better job in the last year of coming up with NIL opportunities for players.
Well, Billy Bowman, his paycheck just went up if they're going to keep him, and so is Danny Stutzman. Hey, that's going to do it for this week's show. For Mark Rodgers, I'm Rick Heath. We'll see you next time with the bowl preview right here on the Oklahoma Sports Report.